Hey, welcome everyone. My name is Gabriela Masala, and I am honored and delighted to be here with you with my dear friend, brother, mentor of Nine Star Key and beyond, Michael Beckerer. And we're about to bring you an update of the 2026 Nine Star Key changes. And we're just so excited to be here. Some of you may recognize us working together. My goodness, 15 years ago, Michael introduced me to Nine Star Key. He has been steeping in this amazing ancient wisdom study for many decades and is truly masterful at bringing us the essence of this incredible wisdom. And we have not gathered in this way since we did live many times in Austin, Texas, and we're about to bring you the best of steeping in this work for the last many decades. So I'm going to turn it over to Michael to get us started.
Thank you, Gabriella. Thank you for everything. Hello. It's coming up on the solar new year. February 4th is solar, we call it solar new year. It's halfway between solstice and equinox. And Nine Star Key is based on the solar calendar. So it's essentially our new year. It's when everyone switches from whatever house we've been steeping in for the past year to a new house, to the next phase of our 9 year journey. So we track both year and month in Nine Star Key. So we're on a 9 year journey. Everyone moves one phase that on February 4th, but we also transition in the month. Today, Gabriella and I are going to focus mostly on the yearly change because it's much more impactful. The year change is very noticeable and has a big effect on how we experience life. The monthly shift is smaller and not quite as impactful. I keep track of it and I send out an update and I enjoy tracking it that way. We'll probably mention a few of the changes because some of them are particularly noteworthy, but for most part, we're going to concentrate on the year. So, Gabriella, would you like to let everyone know where we are?
Yes, I will. And remember that we are studying nature, that all of the information we need to learn and deepen in this way of seeing energetics, we can receive by observing our lives and observing the energy that's arising. As Michael said, we track 9 year cycles, the greater dream or era that we are living into and creating, and also 9 month cycles. And that why we do this is because we want to be in alignment with nature's wisdom. We want to be in alignment with the cycles of that natural gestation, germination, rising creativity and growth, reassessment, materialization, celebration, expression, so that being in alignment with nature helps the best in us to come out and helps us to frame how we are moving through what I like to call the curriculum of our year or the curriculum of our month. So everyone is entering a new year, as Michael said, on February 4th. And with that, the month is also changing. So here's what I'm about to offer you. Grab your journals or paper and pen, and you're going to make sure that you know what your first number is, because that first number is what we track. You might also want to have the first numbers of your loved ones, your partners, your colleagues, whatever it is. You've got this recording. You can always pause, come back to it. So I'm going to start by just moving through all of the first numbers, starting at number 6, metal, because 6 metal enters a 1 year in 2026. So we're going to run through the numbers of the year, and I'm also going to tell you the month you're entering. Even though, as Michael said, this recording is focused on your yearly curriculum, I'm going to give you both so that you can keep tracking for yourself as you go through the year. Okay, here we go. So we are starting with 6 metal. Enters a 1 year and a 3 tree month. So 6 metal, 1 water, 3 tree month. 7 metal enters a 2 earth year, a 4 tree month. 8 earth enters a 3 tree year, 5 earth month. This month is February. 9 fire enters a 4 tree year, 6 metal month. 1 water enters 5 earth year and 7 metal month. 2 earth enters 6 metal and 8 earth month. 3 tree enters 7 metal year and 9 fire month. 4 tree enters 8 earth year, 1 water month, and 5 earth enters a 9 fire year and a 2 earth month. So make sure that you track those for yourself. And we're going to start with 6 metal because that is in 1 water, which is the beginning of our 9 star key cycle, or the mandala of transformation, as I like to refer to it. And I'm going to turn it back over to Michael to get us started.
Thank you, Gabriella. And I would just mention that if you are trying to figure out your number or someone you know's number, you can go to my website, strategyforevolution.com, and there's a calculator where you just enter your birth date and it'll give you your signature. So we're going to start with 6 metal. As they shift from this past year being in 9 fire, they're moving into 1 water. That's a dramatic change. Most of the changes are somewhat cushioned. The transition has a quality of subtlety to it, but going from 9 fire to 1 water is not subtle. It's very strong, and in 9 fire, all our energy is available to go out, to be externalized, to interact with the world, to interact with people and events. And it's a bright time. 1 water is just the opposite. All the energy wants to go in. Frequently, people will think when they make this change and they're not aware of these shifts, they'll say, I feel depressed. Last year, I had so much energy. And what I point out is it's not that you don't still have the energy, it's just going inward rather than out. And so it's a wonderful time for contemplation. It's a wonderful time for stillness. It's a wonderful time uh, for depth. If you have a contemplative practice, it will go deeper than you've ever gone before. If you don't have a contemplative practice, it's a wonderful time to begin one. 1 water supports that. Your meditation will be richer than it's ever been in a 1 water year. So, of course, in our world, things move so fast, and not very many people have the privilege of being able to retreat into themselves. But I always stress that if you at least have some sort of contemplative practice, you'll be able to harvest the energy of 1 water. You'll feel good about that. Without that, it can be a struggle, because oftentimes I notice in 1 water, I just don't feel like doing all the things that our culture has to do. Get in the car, drive, go here, go there. Those things in a 1 water year, they just don't come easy. And so it's got a quality of swimming upstream oftentimes. Now, the other thing I will mention, water is also very resilient. The Grand Canyon was carved out by water flowing. It has a resilient quality. And consequently, if you are in a circumstance where you have lots of day-to-day things that you have to do, you're parenting, you're working, you're pursuing a career of some kind, water is resilient. You can continue to do these things. It's just, as I say, it'll feel a little bit uphill. Uh, it's not the best year for getting lots of things done. It's the best year for going inward. But if you have lots of things to get done, you'll still have that resilience.
Beautiful. Let me add some nuances, yeah? And then we'll
Please.
see if it sparks more in you. So What is there to get done in a one water year for our sixes that love to get her done, right? These sixes are just so responsible, manifestors, materializers. So deepen your relationship with spirit, with the divine, with the mystery. What there is to do is go deeper. What there is to do is drink, 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 drink. Water is life. And so this is such a great opportunity to get yourself resourced, to go to the depths, to dream a new dream. We're also at the beginning of a new 9 year cycle. So you get to gestate. To quote my mentor, Michael Beckerer, it's a time to listen to the innermost whispers of your deepest heart about what is wanting to grow into your next 9 year. And six, which is so great at manifesting the sacred life, I would say, get really quiet and listen to those whispers so that that's the sacred life you can be gestating to develop over the next 9 years.
Absolutely wonderful, Gabriella.
Anything else on six?
Well, you already just mentioned it, but one water, it's the beginning of a new cycle. You mentioned gestation. The posture is one of surrender. The posture is one of allowing. It's not, it's a new cycle, but it's not, okay, here's what's my new thing I'm going to do. It's more a posture of allowing how I want to be moved, how the one wants to move me, because one water in Nine Star Key is associated with the one, the Tao, and
Hmm.
that's the reason for its depth. So we're opening ourselves to that, and that's really the posture.
Ashe, beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, and let's remember too what will be helpful in a 1 year for six or for anyone to become a friend of the dark. One water is midnight, winter solstice, all of the energy underground. Become a friend of silence and let that actually feed you rather than agitate you or feel like you should be doing more.
Wonderful. Yes.
All right, beautiful. Let's move on to seven earth, seven metal rather, entering two earth. Take it, Michael.
Seven metal entering two earth. The shift from one water to two earth is subtle. Seven metals been in that house of one water that we just described this past year. And so they've been steeping in the depth. And in two, they gradually move away from that and begin the process of building the foundation for this 9 year cycle. Two Earth is very much associated with planning and preparation. I think of it as base camp. It's when we gather our tools, we make alliances. Two supports making alliances. If we have a new dream that we're hatching, we may need to make new alliances, and two supports that. We may need to gather new skills or new tools. Two supports that. So two is a time for that kind of gathering our tools, our alliances, and getting ready for this new phase of growth.
Mm.
Anything, Gabriella?
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. I would add that as one water is the one, two earth is the mother. So in a two earth time, I always emphasize being held by the mother quality of life, being held by the earth, being in intimate connection, literally like lay on the earth, let her hold you, those qualities, and support, nourishment, literally looking at the mycelial and soil organism metaphor of how your life is growing, the environment that you're in, and the people that surround you, right? Those alliances that Michael spoke of, that this stage of germination, we know that healthy soil is what creates juicy fruits. So be aware of that as you're building those foundations. Who are you surrounding yourself with? What are your thought forms? What are your patterns? That this foundation is what will really grow that healthy creation as you emerge into your greater 9 year cycle.
And for seven metal, they are particularly well supported by Two Earth. Seven is associated with the youngest daughter in the archetypal Chinese family, and she is supported so well by the Two Earth, which is the mother. And so sevens are going to feel well supported this year. So it's
Mm.
here for you to really do all these things we've to touch into these alliances and skills building and so forth, because you'll feel really nurtured. And as Gabriella pointed out, emphasize that quality of being held by the earth. Perhaps develop some sort of practice of barefoot walking or lying on the earth, as Gabriella said. I really recommend that for these seven metals this year.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right, let's take it into eight Earth, entering three tree year, Michael.
Eight earth going from two earth to three tree. Um, a double earth, which is what's been happening for eight this past year, uh, creates lots of stability, but it can actually get to the point where there's stagnation. There's not a lot of movement in a double earth time. And so stepping into three tree, as we know, is a little bit like being shot out of a cannon. You know, my favorite image for three tree is the baby sea turtles scrambling down the beach, you know, to get to the ocean. Three tree is an urgent need to be alive, to express. Gabriella is the wonderful example of her first number is three tree. Uh, Artistic expression, dance, song, upward energy, upward energy. So these are all early spring, early morning. Those are all three tree qualities. And that's what eight is stepping into. Well, that's a little tricky because coming out of two for an eight, they're going to be moving a little sticky, you know, and suddenly launching into that urgent energy of three tree is if you have something you want to accomplish and something you a dream you want to make real, this is a wonderful time to move forward. But if you don't have something tangible, that energy is so impulsive that if it's not being expressed, it will come through as frustration. Three tree is this really strong energy, and if it's not given its voice, if it's not given a way to express, it turns into frustration and depression, anger. And so for an eight, particularly who a lot of eights aren't given to that kind of jubilant expression, if you will. They tend to be more stable and more staid. So my advice is to have some sort of three tree practice. Sing every day or dance every day or an artistic expression of some kind. And then, even if you don't have a bigger theme that your life is moving forward really fast, you'll have a practice of every day expressing three tree energy, and that will temper the quality of frustration.
Beautiful. Such great wisdom. I want to uh, slow down to speed up. We enter three tree after two transformations in the dark and in the depths, underground. Water and earth are both underground. Three tree, rising new life. So eight, what you have been gestating and germinating starts to rise above the surface now, whether it's material or not. As Michael and I often reflect that in our Western culture consensus reality, we tend to focus on material achievement, and yet it's so multidimensional. So maybe there's some deeper growth or relational reality that's been gestating, germinating. You start to see the fast rising growth of that now in your 3 year eight. And then this is a teaching, right? So we're moving through these transformations starting at one water. So for everyone listening, you can learn about this amazing movement through the cycle by listening to every number. So here we are, eight mountain comes into three tree, excuse me. And this creates this quality of the earth being stirred, right? This is something I've learned from Michael around that sometimes three energy can disturb eight. In the same way, when the tree roots spread out on the mountain, it also aerates the soil. So there's a quality that I invite aides to be with here of what is it that I'm creating more room for, that I'm breathing new life into, that I'm growing on the mountain of my life, of my being. And what is that gestating, germinating vision, dream, growth that is now going to be coming into the light and growing up towards the sun? Any other nuances on that, Michael?
I don't think so. I think you've covered it all.
All right, great. Let's enter nine fire as it moves into four tree for the year.
Yes. Nine fire has been in three tree. They're moving to four tree. Both years. Tree, of course, feeds fire. And fire, all our nine fire friends are passionate and typically full of energy. Well, during these 3 and 4 tree years, last year and this year, that's really true. The fire is being fed. And so there's no shortage of energy for nine fire to do what nine fire does, which is live their lives very passionately and go after the things that make them feel alive. Um, but of course, one of the themes I always want to stress with Nine Fire is they have to get enough rest. They have to get enough sleep. And particularly in these 3 and 4 tree years, the fire is just going to be fed. And Nine Fire people can get a little carried away and they tend to ignore the fact that they need rest. So this is something I always want to bring back to mention to Nine Fires. 4 tree is less urgent than 3 tree. So this year won't have the kind of urgent quality that last year did. Adaptability is a quality associated with 4 tree. The wind is the image. It doesn't get stopped by obstacles, it goes around them. And this is a quality you'll look for this year is yes, you're passionate and you're moving forward, but you're moving the way a sailboat moves, constantly tacking one direction in the other direction. That's the quality of 4 tree. Uh, Anything else, Gabriella?
Great. Let's see. I'd add that um, if three tree is fast, rising growth, four feels to me more expansive. And it's the time in nature's canopy when the buds appear on the tree. And it's a lot of growth, and yet if three is more initiative, four is more mature and more expansive. I know, Michael, you've sometimes referred to four as like the genius, the capital T trust in what we're growing, because four can also um, under-resourced move towards self-doubt or indecision. So, especially for nine, that also has that quality of like it can be a candle flame or it can be volatile wildfire. So to be with your focus, right? I feel like when I'm in four and I remember to focus and stay creative and flow, like you said, Michael, attack of trusting the flow of my life and staying creative and grounded, then I'm less likely to fall into overthinking or catastrophic thinking, which nine sometimes has a tendency towards, and paralysis by overanalysis, to quote you. So be aware of that this year, nine, and also just keep bringing expansive growth to the dream, the era, the expression that you've already been focusing on the last 3 years.
Thank you, Gabriella. Yes, I want to mention with 4 tree, as Gabriella brought up, the challenge of 4 tree is self-doubt and hesitation because so much 4 tree is about changing direction. And a change in direction usually means a moment of hesitation before we know how to turn. And our culture so emphasizes straight ahead movement that 4 tree can often plague us with feeling like self-doubt. I'm not sure which way to go, and I'm kind of stuck, as Gabriella said, paralysis by overanalysis. And so that's something to be aware of, particularly for nine fires who tend to move quickly. That hesitation may feel a little challenging at times, but I recommend you remember that the time of shifting energy and making decisions and going in different directions, that's not a bad thing that you're hesitating.
Beautiful. Yes. Yeah. I'm inspired to mention just a little bit about the elementals again. Fire, wood, wood feeds fire. This is a good time to just keep that steady warmth of your heart. You know, the difference when you're feeding a fire, if you give it a lot of wood, but then you back off and just like keep it steady, and be aware, as Michael said, always good with nine. Don't burn out and get your rest. And remember that the ember and the ash stage are part of the wisdom of nine fire. And it invites um, a maturity, I think, that our culture just like go, 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 burn, burn, burn. So yeah, let your fire be stoked, express the warmth of your heart, and keep creating and expressing, as is so much that poetry energy.
Thank you.
All right, are you ready for one water, Michael? One water enters five earth for the year.
Five Earth for the year, as we know, is five Earth is halfway through the 9 year cycle. And it indicates a pause for reflection, for self-reflection. We pause and we look back. Five is called the house of karma. It's very much about taking a reckoning or an inventory of our past. We look back and we see, have our needs been met? Do we have the tools we need? And perhaps if we don't, we make a note of that because it's going to be, as we move on, we're going to want to gather new tools. Perhaps we're going to want to make sure that our needs are being met. So five is a time of that kind of inventory or reckoning. It is the house of karma. In our culture, that's a little bit misunderstood, but essentially any past, anything left over from our past, whether it's a misunderstanding or a wound or a sense of unfinished business. Those qualities, if we have those in our life, they will visit us in five. And it's a wonderful time for us to take an inventory and check that, but frequently they show up without an invitation. Suddenly, some event from our past suddenly comes right in our face, and we're forced to confront it, if you will. The theme for this is really it's about healing. It's about it's not bringing this up to sabotage us. It's bringing this up so we can bring healing to our past. Ideally, in our 5 year, we heal these old wounds, we heal these old misunderstandings. And then as we move into the next phase, which will be six metal, we're ready to move forward without dragging the past behind us.
Mm, well said. Yes. Yes, everything is happening for you. Whatever arises this year, One Water, this is a gift for you to come into greater wholeness, integration, healing, so that then when you enter 2027, you can go forward in a really clarified and focused way. To again refer to Michael, often in a 5 year, things that no longer serve us will show up to be sloughed off. And I often feel in a five is in the middle of the mandala. And I often feel like everywhere I turn, I'm turned back towards myself. So I love this mantra that I use and offer others for a 5 year to center in the center of the center, and to really get what that means on your own terms, to center in your own life, to center into your own heart, belly, intelligence, to face whatever is coming to you, and then to live from that really centered place, centered in the Tao, and let that inform your movement.
And I'd also would like to mention that, as we said earlier when we were talking about one water, one is associated with the Tao. And so anyone whose first number is one has a very deep calling to that quality, to that essence. And so in a 5 year, there's that get one of the gifts is this capacity to go deep and really heal those old misunderstandings. And one waters are particularly good at depth, so it's a time for you to really take advantage of that.
Beautiful. Awesome. Next, we have two Earth. You are entering six metal for the year.
To Earth going from five, they've been spent this last year in that quality of healing and karma, and now they're moving into six, which six is the sword. Six is heaven's force. It's straight ahead, focus and take action. So ideally, you've spent this year in five healing, and you're ready to move forward without bringing your old attachments with you. You're ready to move forward unencumbered. And that's what six ideally asks for. It asks for us to focus on what's important and go after it. It's associated with the harvest, the time of we cut the wheat and then we throw away the chaff. We go after the essence in six. We're particularly good in six, or six supports identifying what's most essential and casting aside what isn't. Sometimes that can be a little difficult because any part of us that wants to hang on to things, six is can be a little blunt and a little harsh about that. As a two Earth, uh, two does well with six metal. All the Earth numbers do well with six metal. They support that movement. So it's a really powerful time for you to accomplish things, to move your life, to move your dreams forward. Any businesses that you've been working on, projects you've been working on, six is the time to really begin to pull things together. Manifestation, materialization, accomplishment, all qualities that are associated with six metal. Gabriella?
Yes, yes. Focus, precision, a little wisdom about six metal, prune well, don't hack. Careful of harshness, and that quality of six out of balance can be harsh, over controlling, tyrannical. So rather, let's foster the quality of six in our materialization and harvest. That is the loving father, protective, preserving of life. I love to think of this quality of six, heaven's force, as the divine masculine backing us up, our own spine backing us up. Um, the quality of the mystery or divine that is the father energy, Ra, Ram, the sun, golden light frequency, so that how can we bring this into our lives to feed and then move forward to materialize and support us in growing our dreams. And I love this quality for you too, Earth. You are mother. Your first number is to Earth Mother, and then here you're being met all year by this six Earth Father energy. And so, yeah, play with the energetics of sacred marriage, of union, of wholeness, of your own inner masculine and feminine coming into a greater resonance and love.
Beautiful. Thank you, Gabriella.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, we are heading now into three tree. You're entering seven metal for the year.
Three tree entering seven metal, coming from six metal. So again, a subtle shift. Six, we just talked about that really sharp edge of focus and precision. Seven has a softer quality. It's still metal, it's still precise, and it's still accomplishing things, but it's much more attentive to the grace in life, to the beauty in life. Seven metal is more akin to jewelry, whereas six is a sword. So seven metal, grace is the theme I always like to turn back to, and So it's a time of, in six, we've begun accomplishing, materializing, but seven really emphasize the grace and the beauty, the fruits of our labors, if you will. Seven is a time to really step back and notice what we have accomplished and appreciate what we've accomplished. It's a time to for a kind of generous self-assessment, to notice all we've done and how much we have accomplished. I always like to emphasize that with seven metal. Um, Gabriella?
Yeah, love all you've shared. Seven metal for me is definitely a shift into feminine sensuality, beauty, beauty beyond the beauty myth, beauty of say the natural world, of divine design and proportion, that sense of a beauty that rises from within us, that we can celebrate all that we have accomplished, materialized in the six father masculine time that we're just moving towards, and kind of move in a direction of basking in the sweetness, in the grace, as Michael said. And I always love, Michael, how you turn us towards um, a frame of looking and appreciating everywhere that there's ease and beauty and grace, and looking for that, right? Because how we frame and where we look will determine what we see. So, whereas seven can also, under resource, go towards perfectionism and nothing quite being good enough, which is also an echo of six, under resourced. As you enter seven tree, three tree, this is a time to give thanks and appreciate the sweetness of life, the sensuality of life, the scent of flowers or fresh baked goodies, or the touch of the breeze on our skin, or the beauty of the natural world, the aliveness of being in a body, the sensuality of that, right? So if it's a movement from six father energy to three, excuse me, seven youngest daughter energy. And she gets to have it all. She gets to be loved up and celebrated. So as a three tree, I'm really going to flow into this year and receive, be really receptive to the beauty, the grace, and the appreciation that is everywhere if we're willing to see it.
Great, thank you.
Yes. All right. Four tree, you are headed into eight earth for the year.
So, eight earth, coming from seven metal, which we just described, moving into eight earth. Eight is associated with the time of year between deep winter and spring. The seeds under the ground are beginning to come alive. The seeds of change. New life is beginning to be born, but it's still under the ground. And in the human dynamic, that often comes through as a kind of restlessness. We're not sure what change is coming, but we can intuitively feel something is changing, something wants to be born. And uh, in our culture that's always trying to get to the point and move forward, that's a little difficult. We want to know what is it that wants to change. Whereas eight really instructs with a sort of patience. The mountain, the mountain is eight, and a time of being patient and allowing what wants to grow. It's time. It's time to grow organically, if we will, and that's always a little challenging for me and for most of the people I know. One of the themes of eight is it's really good at seeing what needs to change. One way, another way of holding that is seeing what doesn't work or seeing what's wrong. And this is something we want to be very aware of around eight. An eight energy, as Gabriella says, if under resource, can get stuck in seeing what's wrong. And it's sometimes challenging for them to step out of that and look at things from a more positive point of view. So this is something that I really counsel around eight energy. Be aware that it's a time of revolution. Revolution meaning revolving. New things are being born under the earth. And that's a time we need to be aware of that energy. If we're not, I can suddenly wonder, why am I feeling so antsy and restless? But if I'm aware that, oh, right, it's an 8 year, no, that's why I'm feeling this, then it isn't such a problem.
Beautiful. Yeah. And so to meet some of that restlessness, really for anyone in an 8 year, and yet for four tree, it even speaks more deeply to me because you're a tree. So, even the image of a tree of life deeply rooted into its mountain earth, circulate your energy, deep roots drinking from the earth, your canopy to the heavens, circulate that energy and let that mountain support you. As Michael has said forever, all of those earth transitions are about support and nurturance and to be serviced by the pause, to be serviced by the reassessment, reevaluation. Take the time in the quality of restless about I can feel. You're about to move into 2027, a 9 year, and then 2028, you go back to one and begin a whole new 9 year cycle. So right now, as you enter eight, this whole year for tree, look back and reflect. What have I been focusing on the last 8 years? What has gone full circle from gestation through harvest, through celebration, through now? Like feeling what is woven at your bones. What's the core level wisdom of what you've been gathering? What hasn't borne fruit that you want to compost and give back to the cycles of the earth? What do you still want to nurture and grow as you come into your 9 year next year and maybe even throw seeds into that following cycle? So to really receive the power of the pause, receive the power of your inner elder. I'd love, Michael, if you have anything else to say. I sometimes refer to eight as more of the elder quality, but you tell me how that speaks to you.
Well, I just thought of the quality of eight again as revolution, and frequently what happens is the minute people step into the house of eight, they change things. You can. It's not unusual for change their relationship, to change their career, to move. These are common themes in an 8 year, and that's all right. It's a good way to use that energy. That energy supports change. And so it's time to make those kinds of changes. But ideally, we do those, we affect those changes in a gradual way. We're not just running off half cocked, if you will. I always try to recommend that patience, the mountain really counsels patience. And if we can bring patience to that restless energy, then we can change our lives. It has strength, it has that capacity to make enormous changes in our lives. And we'd rather not spend all that energy on small things like or frivolous things, if you will, changing this, changing that, because our culture so quickly can, oh, you want to change? Here, let's make over your living room with new furniture or something. And that's fine, but if we are patient, that energy can be used in really powerful ways to change our whole lives.
Beautiful. Such solid mountain wisdom. Okay, we are entering now five Earth, Michael's first number. And five Earth, you are coming into a 9 fire year.
Yes, yes, yes. It's such a wonderful time for me. Eight, definitely, as you could imagine, the way I've been talking about it is quite restless, quite challenging in many ways, lots of changes. But I feel nine fire, and as an earth, nine fire is activating. Fire, earth, if there's a forest fire, the next year afterwards, the earth will be verdant and green because fire activates earth. That quality of uh, adding ash and burned material to the soil that then enlivens it. And this quality is something that I always appreciate about nine fire. It activates Earth. All the Earth numbers, when under resourced, tend to stagnation. They can get stuck. And fire makes sure that doesn't happen. Fire activates things. And so as an earth, for many, many years, I resisted fire energy because I found it destabilizing, which it is. It stirs things up, and as an earth, I wanted things to be very stable all the time, and I resisted nine fire energy. But in the last few years, I've let go of that resistance, and I've begun to embrace nine fire energy. And I love the activation and the occasional chaos that shows up. A forest fire is not nothing, it burns up a lot of things. And fire will often have that effect. I always recommend this is your last year of your 9 year cycle, throw it all in the fire. Whatever you've been trying to hatch or birth in this 9 years, it's time to bring it all forward. Very bright time. So we hold nothing back and we move forward with as much energy as possible, aware that there may be some drama, there may be some chaos, but that's okay. We can recover from that and continue moving forward. Gabriella.
Thank you. Five, welcome into nine fire. Some energetic qualities I love to mention for the nine fire transition is to shine bright, to allow the, illumination, let yourself see. I've heard Michael say before that whatever shadow we haven't reckoned with in the 8 year will come into the light in the nine. So, lean in, embrace it, because whatever is arising is wanting to be illuminated. So allow that quality. Um, Five, depending on how you orient, you might not be comfortable in the limelight, in the spotlight. Um, Classically, as Michael has mentored me in understanding that five is in the middle and can sometimes be invisible, can sometimes feel unseen, is sometimes considered, dangerous because it's invisible. Five was added in the development of nine star key by the Japanese after the Chinese developed it. So it has a very mysterious quality. And sometimes it is my experience, Michael, you would tell us your experience as a five, is that the fives are very powerful leaders that support from the middle and from beneath, so that it looks like everything they're catalyzing is the people, right, making it happen. In some ways, it speaks to me very much of yin leadership. And yet you're in your nine fire year, so it's time for you to be seen and in the spotlight and celebrated and bright. And so I encourage you, five earths, to let yourself be the center of attention, let yourself be seen and celebrate all that you have created and experienced over the last 9 years. Because as you allow yourself to savor a healthy closure and a healthy completion, you also will be fortified to enter a whole new cycle when you come to one water next year. So this year, yeah, celebrate good, healthy completions. Um, Let your energy move. Let that warmth and passion and creativity of fire move you.
Thank you, Gabriella. And just to reiterate what you mentioned, five Earth is the catalyst. Five is in the center, as Gabriella said, and all the other energies interact through five. So five catalyzes the energetic growth in everything, in not only people, but in systems, building projects. Five catalyzes movement. And so in a nine fire year, that catalytic quality is going to be very strong and very active. And so, as Gabriella said, step into that, embrace the limelight, if you will, and burn bright.
Yes, ashe, ashe. We have just gone through the nine transformations. A couple of notes I'd want to remind you of as you listen and even maybe re-listen is that you all have a relationship to the five elements of Nine Star Key of the heavens and the earth. So to not get lost in the numbers and to remember to keep reflecting on your relationship to earth, to tree or wood, to water, to fire, to metal, and keep observing nature, observe your life, because that is the greatest immediate teacher of the energies. And I'd also encourage you to take a look at your middle and your third number. And especially if you are in a year that also echoes that middle number or that third number, pay attention to some of the extra qualities of what it could be teaching you and showing you about yourself. An example might be if someone is in a 2 year and has a two heart or a two child middle number, there might be some extra special healing around two, earth, mother, child that might be resonant in that year. Similarly, for say three tree, if you're entering a 7 year and you have a seven in that third number, it's a good idea to observe the quality of seven this whole year and how it might be lighting up your potential, your becoming, what I like to consider the soul's curriculum. Let me turn that over to you, Michael, and see if you want to add any of those nuances.
Thank you, Gabriella. Yes, it occurred to me that one of the themes is whatever year we're in, particularly, we find that our friends or relations who have that as their first number will be particularly resonant with them in that year. So it's a wonderful time for that quality, particularly if we're in an intimate relationship and we notice that the person we're with, we're either in that same energetic cycle. There will be an increased resonance. You know, resonance is that quality of two strings that vibrate at the same frequency, and we will feel that with people who share those qualities. So that's something I really recommend you look out for.
Beautiful, beautiful. And Michael, I wonder if you have any reflections on the collective year that we're entering, if there's anything you want to share about that or not.
Well, we're entering the house of one water for the year. Everyone, the world, is any babies born this year will be one water, will be their first number. And that, of course, as we've talked about one water through today, indicates depth, indicates a new beginning in a certain way, a quality of uh, stepping into the Tao, the one. And of course, with the upheaval that civilization and culture seems to be going through these days. I'm hoping that that one water time will be cooling waters to some of this
Mm.
passionate things that are going around, and will bring a quality of depth, a quality of knowing, a quality of seeing more deeply. That's certainly my hope.
Beautiful. Yes, mine as well. And that quality of water that is also cleansing and purification, to return to the source.
Yes.
And you use the word resonance, when two fields resonate together like strings. I also really have been steeping in the quality of coherence. And what would it be like if, as a collective, we can receive the support of this one water to come into greater coherence and resonance with the one, with the Tao? And because Michael and I love wholeness, it's always essential to embrace the shadow too. And so the shadow of one is fear of the depths, fear of the unknown, flailing in the dark. So again, for the collective, I would really emphasize and that we can frame it so that we can choose when we see in the larger global stage or worldview that there seems to be this like despairing in the dark and fear of the unknown. How can we bring in that quality of surrender to the one, trust in the mystery, befriending the dark? Let me turn it back over to you for any comments, Michael.
Oh gosh, that was so beautiful. I'm not sure I want to add anything. Thank you. Yes, the dark is always challenging. The unknown. The Tao is the unknown that can never be spoken. As I say, the true Tao can never be spoken. Because we can't put words to that quality, that essence. The minute we put words to it or language around it, we limit it. And so we embrace that depth, that large quality that we can't really get our language or our thoughts wrapped around. Well, that's scary. It's always scary to step into the mystery, to step into the unknown. We're used to always being able to describe what's going on for us. And one water uh, often can't be described. It can't be put into words. And so becoming comfortable with that, becoming comfortable with mystery, becoming comfortable with the dark is one of the lifelong lessons that we all hope to move through. And this is a really positive year for that.
Beautiful. Yes, as you're sharing, I'm reminded of Vin Marty, founder of Soul Motion movement form, would say the unknown is the most intimate. And with that, I'm also really touched by this experience of the depth and becoming a good surfer of the waves that can find the sweet spot, really, swimming, the shift of like of enjoying the waves and swimming or drowning. And so that these frames of the shadow of what's appearing right now in the global stage and also the elevated energy of attuning to spirit and sources, they're equally available for our perception and our experience. And so I encourage you to choose your frame and your paradigm wisely and well and inclusively. The one includes everything. The one is the unified field. And let's call on the invisible realm in this invisible time of one water, the invisible realm, this spirit realm to support us as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you.
one water. So we've reached the end of our 9 transformations. Michael, is there anything else you want to share as a way to bring us into closure?
Don't think so. Let me think a minute. Let me just ponder a moment. Uh,
Okay.
you mentioned earlier, I'll just say, for me, learning Nine Star Key over the years, tracking these movements through the houses, through the years, through the months, has been before I started counseling other people. That was the way I learned Nine Star Key, was by tracking my own movement, noticing the difference between when I was in 4 tree and then when I moved to 5 earth, and seeing those differences. So that's why I recommend tracking this movement. It's a really wonderful way to learn and embrace and be informed of how I experience these changes, because these qualities that we describe are very subtle and intuitive, and each of us will experience them in slightly different ways. So, as you move through these houses, you can bring awareness to, how do I experience metal energy? How do I experience one water energy? Because it will be a little different than how I experience it or how Gabriella experiences it. So, please discover.
Yes, yes, take it on as a lifelong study. What I recommend is that if you have an old school journal, calendar, or however you track your months, to at the top of the page include the month that you enter. And it's really lovely to keep that in your awareness and to track the shifts that way of like, oh, this month I'm in 5. Let me be aware of these qualities and aware of the flavor, the nuance, the curriculum that's offered in the teachings in framing my 9-month cycle. Similarly, I would also encourage you, if you haven't already, go to Michael's website, listen to his audios. I think he's got some other great free resources there. We will include in this video notes a link to a calculator so you can figure out for others, and also you could track the month in that way. Michael has a great newsletter that he sends out monthly that also gives a little synopsis, a little soundbite of each number shift, which is great. And of course, he gives amazing 9-star key focus sessions. I tend to integrate 9-star key with my transformational and mentoring sessions, not as the focus, but always as a really important learning tool. So keep growing with it, keep learning with it. I think it would be great, Michael, if you want to just also speak your website for those that don't have a digital read right now.
Sure. Strategyforevolution.com. That's my website. It has my information. If you send me an email and say you'd like to receive my newsletter, that's all it takes. I'll put you on the list and you'll receive that update every month so you can track very closely where you are. And as Gabriela said, through my website, you can also contact me if you'd like to for a private session or whatever else.
Yeah, or fly them out wherever you are and have them present for your community. Okay, my website, gabrielamasala.com. And yeah, feel free. You can contact us there. You can contact me there too, but contact us. Any questions, anything that might come up. And we're so grateful we could bring you this information today. Have a really beautiful year, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you, Michael. Love you.
you. Love you.